For today's video, we're going to be talking about percent example problems. We're going to be going over a set of problems in which we're going to rewrite fractions, decimals as percents, and then we will rewrite percentages as decimals, and then we will rewrite percentages as fractions. So we'll start off with taking some fractions and converting them to percents. We're going to have 3 problems of these. So we'll have the first value be 10 over 15. And in order to rewrite 10 over 15 as a percent, we need to take this number and multiply it by 100. Now, 15 we know is 5 times 3. And then 100 we know is 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. Right, as a prime factorization. So I know here I can cancel out 1 5 from 15 and 1 5 from 100. And what I will be left with is on top I'm going to have 10 times 2 times 2 times 5 all over 3. And so 10 times 2 times 2 times 5, well, 10 times 2, that is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. And 40 times 5 is 200. So I'm going to have 200 over 3. And now the last thing I have to do is just divide this number out. And so I'm going to have 3 on the outside of the house, 200 on the inside of the house. 3 goes into 2, no times. 3 goes into 20, that is 6 times. I will then have 18. 20 minus 18 is again 2. Carry down the 0, I get 20. 3 goes into 20 again 6 times. And I get another 18. Subtract this out, get another 2. Now I have my decimal point to worry about. Add another 0, bring down the 0. And so now 3 goes into 20 again 6 times. What we're going to realize is we're establishing a pattern. And so in that case, we're just going to write a repeating bar on top of it. And our answer in this case is that 10 over 15 can be 66.6 repeating percent. You can also think of it as 66 and 2/3. If you want to think about it this way, 66 and 2/3 of a percent. Both of these are correct. Alright, we're going to move on to the next problem. And in the next problem, we will have 17 over 4. And we want to convert this to be a percentage. So again, what we're going to do is we will multiply, I'll use green this time, by 100. We know that 4 can be rewritten as 2 times 2. And then 100 again can be rewritten as 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. The 2's can cancel out. And so I will be left with 17 times 5 times 5. In this case, that is 17 times 25. And this is a long shot, but if you know 16 times 25 is 400. Every four groups of 25 is 100. So 4 times 25 is 100. 8 times 25 is 200. 12 times 25 is 300. 16 times 25 is 400. So if you add one more, 17 times 25 is going to be 425. And so at the end, in order to convert this as a percentage, we have 17 over 4, and we simply just add the percentage sign, and we have 425%. Okay. Next problem we'll work on is 5 and 1/6. Okay, we want to convert this to be a percentage. The first thing you have to do actually is, in order to work with an improper fraction, in order to work with a mixed number, you should convert it to an improper fraction. Technically, there is a way around it, but it can get a little hairy. I just prefer to convert them to improper fractions first, and then work it out like we did with 17 over 4. So 5 times 6 is 30. Add the 1 on top, we're going to get 31 over 6. And now we can multiply by 100. Again, we know that this is 2 times 3 on bottom, 6 is 2 times 3, 100 is 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. Cancel out the 2's. And so I will be left with, on the top, I have 31 times 2 times 5 times 5. And on the bottom, I'm dividing by 3. And so in this case, 31 times 2 is 62. 5 times 5 is 25. Over 3. I don't know 62 times 25 very well, so I'm just going to multiply that out on the side. And so I'm going to use a little bit of scratch work on the left side here. So 62, if I can write a 6 very well, can't write it there. We have 62 times 25. 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1. 6 times 5 is 30, carry the 1. I'll add the 1 back, we're going to get 310. Now we add a 0. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 6 is 12. Add it all together, now we get 1550. And so my numerator for this giant fraction is going to be 1550 over 3. And now I just need to divide that all out. So I'm going to move down to a new sheet. Free is going to go on the outside. 1550 is going to go on the inside. Free goes into 1. Can't do that. Free goes into 15 5 times. 3 times 5 is 15. We're going to subtract that out. We get 0. Bring down the 5. Free goes into 5 once. And so 3 times 1 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 20. And so now we are left... Well, actually, sorry, 5 minus 3 is 2. Carry down the 0. Now it's 20. Thinking ahead of myself. Now we are left with 20 again. We encountered this issue in our very first problem. 3 goes into 26 times. And we get 18. And as we keep subtracting... right down here with the 2, we realize we're going to get the same number we started with, which is 20 again. So I need to add another 0. 3 goes into 26 times again. I get 18, and I'm again left with a 2. And so what we realize is we get the 6 bar repeating. And so in this case, 5 and 1/6 is equivalent to 516.6 repeating percent, or it's also equivalent to 516 2/3 of a percent. Okay. The next few problems we're going to deal with are going to be converting decimals to percentages. So I'm going to have, we'll start with the first problem of 0.63. And so in order to convert a decimal to a percent, it's actually really easy. All you need to do is just take your decimal and move it to the right 2 spots. So we go 1, 2. And so now we have 63, and we just add the percent sign back, and so now we're with 63%. That's it. 0.63 is 63%. Another problem we're going to do is 2.17%. Whoops, sorry, this is not a percentage. It's just 2.17. We'll turn it into a percent. That's what we're going to do. And so I'm going to take my decimal, move it 2 spots, 1, 2. And now I get 217%. Okay, the last one of these problems we will do is 31.171. And so, just like the other ones, take our decimal, move it twice, and we get 3,117.1%. It's perfectly fine to have a decimal, okay? We don't need to be worried about that. What matters is that we just move our decimal 2 spots to the right. Okay. So now that we've converted we've converted fractions to percents, and we've converted decimals to percents. Now let's work the other way around. We're going to take some percentages and convert them to decimals first. To do this, it's, again, I think pretty straightforward. We're going to have 400%. And what in this case we need to do is we take 400 and we take our decimal, which is at the very end, and now we move it to the left 2 spots. 1, 2. And so now 400% is going to be 4. As a decimal, or in this case, it's actually just a whole number, so the whole number is 4. Next problem is if I have 61.3%. I have 61.3. I'm going to move my decimal 2 spots to the left now, and I'm going to get 0.613. Additionally, you can put a 0 in front of the decimal point. I prefer to, so then you get 0.613%. Sorry, 0.613. I keep saying percent. I shouldn't say percent. 0.613. Alright, the last problem we'll do of these is 121.38%. 121.38. I'm going to move my decimal 2 spots, 1, 2. And now I'm going to get 1.2138 as a decimal. Okay. The last few problems we'll do are going to be rewriting percentages as fractions. So we'll start off with a couple of easy ones, and then we'll work on a hard one. The first one we'll do is, let's take 24% and rewrite it as a fraction. In order to do that, you remove the percent sign, so you have 24. And now we're going to multiply by 1 over 100. Okay? And so what's going to happen here is 24 times 1 is just 24. This has a hidden 1 underneath it. 24 has a hidden 1 underneath it, so 1 times 100 gets me to be 100. And now all we need to do is simplify. 24 can be written as 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Right? 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 4 times 6 is 24. 100 is 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. Okay, we can cancel out some things here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 2's go away. 2 from the top, 2 from the bottom. And now what we have left over is 6 over 25. And that is my fraction. We'll do one more. And we will do 438%. So we'll have 438 and 1 over 100. Let's see. 438, that is 2 times 219. That I believe is that divisible by 3? It is divisible by 3, but 100 does not have a 3 in it. So we'll leave that there. Here's what we can do. Our numerator is going to be 2 times 219. Our denominator in this case I know can be 2 times 50. So I can factor out at least 1, 2 here. And now we just need to ask ourselves, how many groups of 50 are in 219? I would prefer to write this as a mixed number instead of as an improper fraction. Well, 50 times 2 is 100. 50 times 3 is 150. 50 times 4 is 200. So that means I would have 4 whole 50s with 19 left over. And so I get 4 and 19 over 50 as my fractional answer. 19, if you remember, is prime, so we can't simplify it any more than that. Alright, we'll do one last problem, and then that'll be it for this video. We will do 54 and 3/7 of a percent. Okay, so for this, before we can multiply by 1 over 100, we need to take 54 and 3/7, convert it to an improper fraction. So 54 times 7, don't know that off the top of my head. 4 times 7 is 28, carry the 2. 5 times 7 is 35, add 2 more, I get 37. Add the 3 from the top, and we're going to get 381. Over 7, and we're going to multiply that by 1 over 100. And so here, 381 times 1, 7 times 100. 381 is divisible by 3, but it's not divisible by 2. And so keep in mind, 100 only has 2 and 5 as factors. So if it's not divisible by 2, and it's not divisible, and if 381, is not divisible by 2, and is not divisible by 5, then there's no other work we need to do. So 381 ends in a 1, so it's not divisible by 5. It's odd, so therefore 381 is times 1 is 381. 7 over 100, 7 times 100 is 700. And that is our answer. We don't need to go any farther. We can't simplify it. So there we go. And that ends this video.